Good evening, everyone. The theme of this work is Hobbit. Before choosing a reference, I had an image of an old Bilbo Baggins in my imagination. Every time I try to create a piece of work, I think about some kind of story. In the study with various books and various objects, Baggins records the long journey as memories and history. Frodo, unaware of his fate of a long journey, calls for Baggins, and Samwise follows behind, follow Frodo. Baggins, hearing Frodo's voice, smiles, puts aside his work, and goes to see Frodo. Warm sunlight behind Baggins records of the journey he went through so far. A few things I collected just out of curiosity were the absolute ring, and I imagined a messy yet orderly study in my head. I haven't decided exactly what to do. It's ironic that I even imagined that. First, I looked for reference materials. After watching the Hobbit movie, I looked for other works that created similar Hobbit concepts, and I looked for furniture that was similar to Viking but had an academic feel. I started working right away. I was obsessed with the idea of working quickly but maintaining a certain level of quality. When modeling this and that, working on textures, and applying it to Unreal, if you feel that the study concept and location do not fit, even though I put a lot of effort into the job, I gave it up. This was the result of concerns that if the concept was ruined by forcing it in, the overall result would look ambiguous. However, this only increased capacity by unnecessarily increasing work time. These problems appeared little by little while working on textures. For shortened working time and good quality, UV in invisible areas won't ruin the overall texture. It was simple to work with. But even if I do this, I already know how to do it the right way. Expand ooze. Modeling with check texture. Balanced arrangement so that detailed work can be done easily. So I thought, rather, work time is increasing and quality is decreasing. You have to do it one step at a time accurately. No matter how much work is required, it is unconditionally accepted. I found it important to modularize modeling one by one. Next, this is the texture part. Texturing went smoothly from the start. Leather, fabric, parchment, wood, metal, wax, etc. Just create 3 types of each and change the base color and roughness. The intention was to make even simple textures appear diverse. It went as planned, but the problem was quality. Things did not go as planned as the quality was not what was expected. The entire texture had to be reworked, even when creating various types of textures. The important thing about the texture part was to make each one in detail. Next, after working on it for a while, I realized that I needed one item that would stand out. It's not simply modeling structural circles or squares. I thought it would be nice to have a sculpture modeled after a living thing. What came to mind then was words, things that often appear in medieval fantasy. The Hobbit. Horse. We located the horse's anatomy and muscles from the moment we felt it was necessary. I chose a posture that would make my speech stand out more and looked for reference materials. Used his brush to make small adjustments to various brushes. We created muscle structure and fine hair and mane. I thought it would take about 2 weeks to refine the plan before I could come up with a decent finished product. It ended sooner than expected. It took 8 days. Of all my works, this is the one that bothered me the most. Am I really good at this? The quality was so good that the work time was short. Next, I thought it would be a waste to simply show it in one cut. So this scene was born. it shows the overall scene, giving it a slightly sacred and dreamlike feel, and the camera moves slowly at times. I showed you a scene by adjusting bloom's intensity keyframes. By adjusting the manual focus distance, I made the parts of a scene look impressive, and I mixed up the BGM. The BGM has a fantasy-like dreamy feel, but also conveys the feeling that Bilbo loves Frodo a lot. At the same time, I needed a more grandiose feeling, so I chose this. I spent more time in the light than I thought. The problem was the realistic element of light. The window was too small, so not much light came into the room, and the indirect light was unrealistically bright, giving it an unnatural feel. The solution to this problem is to create the main light with HDR. Create 2 spotlights outside the window, and then use Gauderay. Install the remaining indirect lighting in various locations, and adjust the camera so that it is not too strong. Sign has made it possible to see every corner clearly. There was also a small problem. It didn't feel as much like the One Ring as I expected. This issue was solved by directly aiming a small spotlight and adjusting the keyframes. During the entire work process, I faced many basic problems. Most solutions are naturally the result of the habit of adjusting various values. There weren't many problems to solve. Hobbit study. It was a task that allowed me to clearly understand the direction and method of basic work. That's all.